Telling you, we need to see that kick from Storm be good. It's got to be on. Oh, wait.
Oh, finds the kick onto Yoon, but they all get pinned down instead. Yoon just turns around with the wild charge, and that was all it took. Shut down RCNY. 3 kills for SRG. An end game inside. Vinogo booked out of his base. He is the pedestrian, and Sakai is the vehicle. Vinogo doesn't even get to see daylight. He's gonna run away, but his base compromised SRG. Just let him go, Liao. Yeah, you can take me down. I feel mortality. Salang or Red Giants.
He's not even gonna die. He's not even gonna die.
And one came away from the grand finals. As soon as this video crashes in, they waited for RCNY to respawn just to do this again. Innocent with the pin. Rippo can't finish him off, and the Lord will be the member that ends the pain for RCNY.
Stop it, SRG. They're already down. They're already down.
Oh my goodness. They're just kicking them while they're down here. SRG just like that. 2 games away. In this case, match point. 1 game away from being our first grand finalist for MPL NY Season 13 here. What an outclass of a performance here in the upper bracket finals. Who would have thought that RSG's journey of trying to make it happen might just be shut down just like that?
I mean, SRG, they've been playing on a different level, on a different place. They play as a team like a well-oiled machine, and they don't give up easily. I think that right now, that RSG, they've tried 2 facets of their plan. Plan number 1, hey, let's try to get our laners ahead. Let's try and play around our main star players, get them comfortable. And unfortunately, that didn't work. So game number 2, they try something different. They're, okay, we're going to play for both of our side lanes and not just for mid and gold. And unfortunately, Vinogo got punished pre-level 4 even, which made it even tougher. So far, it's just the early game that RSG has been severely blundering.
I think it comes down to route rotation reading, right? Like, if think about the fights on how they're going to be choosing the fights here, SRG has always set up in a way they want to focus Vinogo as being the first guy to get shut down, especially first before either Skies or Vinogo hits level 4. And if they are able to win that fight, they are going to transition to XP lane to try and shut down Repo, which I think RSG was able to stop that in the second clash. But because of this first clash here, it puts RSG in an awkward position where they're trying to mimic the rotations from SRG, but it just doesn't really work out. But of course, when we talk about the matches here, let's talk about the MVP of Selangor Red Giants here. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Yums? Is it going to be... Who is it going to be? It is going to be Cram on the XP lane.
Man needs some spotlight, man. He's the only one not in the top 5 KDA, so better give him something because Innocent is eating every single MVP title up.
Yep. I mean, he's got to get himself on the board. He's like, I'm a late bloomer, but don't worry about me playing Esmeralda when honestly, I felt like there was not much of a reason to at this point, right? It's not like you want to use her natural passive to cut through these shields, overall. And Esmeralda into the Yuzong pick, it's one of those scaling picks. It's like Uranus versus anything. You just outscale them, and then it's like unplayable.
Yeah, nice. So what do you think about this match again? Because you talked about first game. You made coffee, came back, game over. Game 2, once again, you barely left, and you're back again. What's up?
I drank my coffee, it's over, you know, it's almost like 11-minute game again, but dude, the thing is, it was tough to see the Gord game, like even when Gord, you know, using the Mystic Gush on the Grok, not even going down and then getting smashed, oh man, it was tough to see, but Cram, you guys are, you know, wondering about the Esmeralda pick. This is a signature pick of his, like this is a hero that he has mastered, he is fully confident on, and we've seen him do it here. And it's the same thing, you know. Innocent could just do whatever he wanted. The gap, by the way, in the jungle was massive. And again, I was questioning the Cho pick. I've been questioning it even when it popped up in the MPL Philippines. It's so tough for it to actually work with the way that the meta has kind of set in right now. And Yums, man, I mean, Yums was a monster on the Grok alone, just taking all the attention. So everything that could go wrong for RSG in this game early on, and then through the 11 minutes, it went wrong.
Well, unfortunately to say for them here, it seems like they just had no tempo whatsoever. And I agree, the Cho seems to be very, very difficult to play with, right? It comes down to a situation where you need to kind of have this initial snowball first before you can actually snowball it. But in this case, playing from behind, Cho seems to be nearly impossible. You can see a lot of instances where Storm were looking for kicks, but I agree. Like, they just don't have the level, they don't have the items to do damage, and I'm pretty sure Naiso is a little bit disappointed that Izanami just can't kill a Grok full combo with this Gord.
I mean, he tried. Both Oleos and Izanami, they tried their best here, right? And I think, unfortunately for RSG, yes, like Naisu said, everything that could go wrong did end up going wrong. And I think a lot of time, I hate bringing up the Top Gun references, but it definitely, well, in this case, Rooster, it's definitely the pilot, not the plane, because as much as Storm wants to make a hard read on SRG, the most difficult part about them is that you don't know which side of the map they feel like rotating. Because a lot of it just comes down to, oh, somebody gets a slight advantage, and then everyone pivots to that side. And if it happens on the opposite side of the map, they will adjust their rotational paths, like specifically Sakai's. He's not making these shot calls, he's just adjusting to how the laners get powerful.
Yeah, and I think they've also made RSG fall into this trap of just overreacting, right? We saw at one point, once they realized that Vinogo is not going to have a game, Izanami is struggling, they were sending Ripple just to protect Low Liao's goal lane, and even that didn't go well. And that happened because Yums cut off one wave with the Guardian's Barrier. So this not only hurts Low Liao, but it ended up hurting Ripple, and that allowed Cram to set up a way to push the bottom lane. It's a snowball effect that SRG did perfectly.
Yeah, and speaking of the overall damage output of this fight here, I feel like when it comes to damage taken, we always talk about sustaining, right? I feel like Cram was able to juggle rotations in the turret here, which normally I think as an XP laner, you kind of just want to sit in XP laner for the longest of time. But for him to not before turtle fight already joining for an engagement on Vinogo and also juggling with junglers here, like, is this a new rotation for XP laners?
No, this is one of those things where XP laners need to be aware of your lane state. If we see Rippo actively trying to trade against Cram and he doesn't push away, that's perfect for Cram. As long as he's above the 50% threshold, he's actually quite relevant at level 3 in these invades, especially when their enemy jungler is pretty much the same. Like, the only person who really hurts Cram is either Izanami on Gord with the true damage with the Mystic Gush, or Vinogo, who does anti-heal, anti-shield. So those are the only two people who can really hurt him. And I think even so, SRG just made sure that once they have that pivotal fight, they have that advantage, they don't let RSG dictate the tempo. We've seen that happen many, many times.
You know, seeing this happening many, many times, right? I feel like I felt like RSG and MY had more space in this game compared to game 1 because of the low yield in terms of rotations, right? I'm surprised to see Loleo having 0 turret damage, considering that he has gotten a solo kill on Innocent, and he actually wasn't taking part of the early fights at all. So what actually happened here? Like, this, it feels weird to see like them not taking any damage on turrets.
The thing about this, the thing I saw from this is Vinogo got so gapped in the jungle that then your only reliance on, let's say, quote unquote, a tanker or a setter is obviously the Cho on Stone. And so with Vinogo so gapped, Stone struggling against 3 Purifies, you're left to literally, that's it. And then even Rippo, that's why you guys mentioned, like, he was rotating early on to try to save the whole thing. But by that time, it just collapses. You know what I mean? So it's just, and then on the other side, like, everything was going right for what they needed to for SRG. And that's what I saw unfold. And even Stormy, I mean, Stormy had a better Mystic Gush because of the setup potential with an Akai and a Grok. Like, those things just highlighted their lineup so much more for SRG. Like, if you just take the face value of the lineup alone, it's way more valuable, especially with this kind of early game and the gap that they had across the board.
Yeah, I think overall it's also how SRG, even when you look at Cram itself in terms of the total healing, he basically has more healing than everyone from RSG combined, and on top of that, his own teammates, right? The Hall of Fame, you can see Innocent being the rich guy as expected, but Cram this time is the biggest damage dealer just because of how much of a lead he got on the Esmeralda.
I mean, it just goes to show, right? Every one of these lanes, you're trading back and forth. And right now, I feel like RSG, with the way that they're drafting so far, it's like, yes, we are giving you comfort picks, but at the same time, we're not playing towards a particular strategy that's going to benefit us from the get-go. We're seeing that these early games are not working out well for the side of RSG, and SRG has been maintaining tempo and composure and control over the map for 2 games already. Like, RSG really needs some stronger tempo breakers, and they also need to keep in mind that tempo breakers doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be hard CC, because Purifies was a very big deal in that game. Maybe consider RSG, they look to play Arlott, for an example. That's what I'm waiting to see specifically for Stoem.
Yeah, and of course, when it comes to, I think it comes down to confidence, right? Like SRG, for both games in a row here, they were super confident to just run into the face here, especially at level 4, trusting the teammates here, like, hey, I'm going to go in here, this is exactly the plan. And look at here, even here, and at the same time, they are just going to go for a fight here. And in this case, getting this first kill onto his Vinogo and also just taking so much space gave them so much aggression.
And I think you can see this is probably one of the first parts that we started seeing RSGMY really hard pivoting to somehow save the state of the game. They were trying to pick up as much scraps as they can, right? This kill on the Stud guys, and even then they committed so much only for 2 kills. And it still does not solve the problem of your XP lane getting completely out-rotated, the gold lane falling into chaos, and your jungle just not being able to have an impact at all.
I mean, it just goes to show, right? Like, micro always leads to macro, and that seems to be the philosophy for the side of SRG at the very least. RSGMY, if there's anything they need to start adapting, I think they might want to, like, their jungle picks, I think it's been totally fine. But unfortunately, they're putting Stoem in a position where he needs to be in all places of the map at once. And I think he needs to really, they need to shorten down on his responsibilities, right? They need to start focusing on particular lanes. They need to start focusing on making sure that mid lane actually has control for once. Like, Izanami is getting these strong picks, but unfortunately, he's not exactly getting the supports that help him win out at level 1, which we've seen that SRG from the get-go, if they win level 1 in the mid lane, it's going to start spiraling out of control.
Well. Speaking of spiraling here, as this stage right now, SRG is match point from being our first grand finalist here. So that is going to be a sight to behold. SRG, a lot of people have high expectations, kind of expecting that they will be the ones to take it all the way, especially in this season. And with 1 game away, is it going to be all the way? Because it seems like RGMY doesn't seem to have any fight at all.
I think that right now, SRG has done some great preparation. They know who their star players are. We saw it from draft number 1 to draft number 2. The adaptations have been pretty significant, and I think they're one of the few teams that even if RSG had like a weird pocket pick to kind of kick them in the shin, right? They've got a way to actually play around it.
Okay, what do you think, Naisu? Is this going to be a pocket pick where we have SRG getting kicked in the shin here? Because 2 games, 2 very, very one-sided match, I would say.
Yeah.
Are they going to be able to adapt before game 3?
This is tough, man. Based off, if I'm just going off game 1, game 2, this is pure momentum for the series alone. And I think it's hard to kind of adjust from that. Like, Gideon, I think, was the one, they're already down. They keep getting kicked. So, like, some miracle thing for RSG has to happen right now. Like, they need to collect all the power from their friends and believe in the power of friendship right now, because it's tough, man. 2 11-minute games back to back. And I think that's one of the crucial things is, I agree, they need to be able to lock down that mid, because so far it's been, Nana and Gord. And in both games, really, the effectiveness hasn't been there. And I think part of it, too, is maybe even just securing Vinogo a better time in the jungle, man. Because when you get down in the jungle early on and you can't compete for the objectives, your team starts to crumble actually around that, I feel like. So, part of that might be even, I'd love to see Arlott pop up. I think that could actually help them get great sets, keep things under control, and that's part of it. Let Vinogo really have a better time in the jungle, start from there, because otherwise, if they don't control that early on, man, I really do see this being a sweep now after seeing 1 and 2.
Okay, thank you so much, Naisu. It seems like there is a lot of inputs coming in from Naisu. I'm curious to see what the host has to say as well, because we have a small things to see how things are at the stadium here as we throw it over to Rose.
Terima kasih kepada kasta-kasta kita. Hai semua, this is Rose. First of all, I just nak cakap good morning kepada semua yang tengah nonton MPL Malaysia. And with me right now, kita ada satu special guest. So, hi, how are you, Subway?
Hai, sihat, Alhamdulillah.
Sehat. Okay, I nak tanya. I don't think it's obvious enough. Hari ni Subway datang MPL sokong pasukan mana?
Of course, SRG.
Why SRG?
Sebab SRG ada kawan-kawan.
Oh, okay. Ada kawan-kawan. You talking about kawan-kawan lah kan? Pusing? Alright. Dia cakap dia datang sokong kawan-kawan tapi dia pakai baju Stormy. So, as Stormy's ex-teammate, how do you think his performance dalam SRG change? Dan do you rasa like SRG ni is really the perfect fit for Stormy?
Mungkin sebab dekat SRG boleh nampak dia lagi menelah daripada tim-tim sebelum ni.
Okay, now let's talk about the game kan. Tadi I'm pretty sure you were watching game 1 and game 2. Now, sekarang dah match point. Diorang perlukan satu lagi menang, satu lagi mata untuk masuk grand finals dah. Securing at least wild card dekat Riyadh kan. So, what do you think? Apa pendapat awak pasal game tadi? Game 1 dengan game 2. How did you think SRG did? And do you think that this is grand finals ready?
First dengan second game tu, I think SRG menang dari segi rotation, and then boleh nampak Venom Go tak level 4. Dari first game sampai second game, dia orang tak boleh buat apa-apa, and then dari sana dia orang boleh snowball sampai habis game. Sebab tu tengok dua-dua game 10 minit tu.
I see. Okay. Now, dua-dua game you suka ke tengok macam game one-sided ni ke you lagi suka tengok macam, you know, sengit, super-duper close long game?
Tak suka sebenarnya sebab dua-dua game 10 minit.
Oh, tak best lah tengok. Tak best. As an audience, tak best. Tapi as players, I'm pretty sure they love it a lot, and I'm pretty sure the casters love it too lah. Tak payah cakap banyak sangat kan. Okay, now, what are your last words ataupun words of encouragement to SRG for this match point game to secure the first grand final ticket of the season?
Untuk SRG, good luck, and saya rasa dah 3-0 kot. And then, wish you all the best. And bawa nama Malaysia ke national dan harumkan nama Malaysia lah.
Wow, I like that. Really an amazing friendship. Alright, so sekarang kita nak throw it back to the casters untuk start game ketiga dalam Best of 5 series ini.
Thank you so much, Rose. And I have some unfortunate news for Naisu because he said gathering friendship is going to be very, very important here. But the friendship coming in from Subway for Stormy as well as SRG seems to be the stronger ones here, as RSG needs a lot to actually make a potential comeback. Naisu, what do you think? Friendship, yay or nay?
It's always yay, man. Friends, good friends and friendship is what you want in your life. You know what I mean? Nice baby one too.
All right. So now we are going to be jumping into the.
Yeah, I would say, Naisu, I think you missed out one crucial part.
Okay.
There's the friendships, right? There's family, relatives, and then there's the flashbacks. You know, you gotta go down memory lane. That's where you conjure the full power of friendship.
I don't know where this main
That's
character's
true.
energy is coming from, but I'm hating it. I hate every little bit of it because right now this is tournament lives for RSG, and here we are talking anime about somebody who's about to be put in their graves here. Unless they've got a new line of hope, and maybe this could be on that red side against SRG.
I'm not gonna lie, RSG and Y from the start of playoffs, they were definitely the underdogs coming into the tournament, right? Like we were expecting them to be knocked out at day number 2 at least here. Day 1 against the Hawk. Yeah, sure, they're gonna be able to take the game, but for them to even drag it out towards I would say a 3-1 situation, which I think could have gone towards game 5. It feels like RSG has been playing on fumes here, and right now SRG is just here to just put out the flames.
Nah, it's not about exhaustion. It's really about the draft the majority of the time, right? Because like RSG, they're playing very individually. They're distributing eggs around in a couple of baskets and are thinking maybe one of them is gonna turn me into a millionaire. But unfortunately, you kind of have to make all of these baskets line up in a particular way to get that sort of profit. And I think right now, based on what I'm seeing in the draft, it's looking a little similar to game number 1. I think they have a bit of a tweak in their game plan, however.
Wonder what this flashback's gonna be. I agree with Naisu bringing out the Arlet.
I was just going to add too, you got to remember, you guys did the comparison. I know for some of the viewers out there, maybe they missed the beginning, but it's Coach Arcadia and Coach Sora, obviously, doing a lot of this work here. And I think it's right. Gideon is right. The draft so far has been on point from SRG, and now they pick up the chip, first pick.
This is something I'm not expecting as well, because I saw Yus played 1 game here, but we haven't seen the full potential of what he brings to the table, right? Because it feels like SRG has been smurfing on everyone during the entire regular season. Like, they were just completely dominating anyone here. There was no signs of just any team being showing any comeback potential at all. And the only other team who's actually put SRG with their backs against the wall was none other than KGE yesterday and during the regular season. And now RSG, they're the ones forcing out a Faramis as well as Roger. So a completely different play styles, I would say draft priorities coming into game number 3.
I mean, that's what you expect, right? When you see a Valentina ban, you expect that Faramis is going to start soaring up in terms of value. But I think that SRG, they can still go for Vexana if they want to, but instead they're going to go with Fredrin into the X-Borg. So now they have somebody who can lock people down and the other able to wait to melt away the temp HP.
Complete shutdown of what RSG's Faramis pick wanted to do. I think this is RSG going down to the final contingency plan, right? We picked Ripples, you don't first pick, didn't work out. We prioritized Vinogo, didn't work out. I think we put it on the Faramis for Izanami.
Yep, and here's a little bit fun fact as well here. RSG is the only playoff teams right now without any Maniacs. So, again, for MPL MY Season 13 here, it's been a long time since we've gotten a Savage. We had one unofficial Savage, but that was the closest. Again, a lot of Maniacs has happened, but RSG not having it means that it is going to be a little bit of a tough spot because as of now, will Lolios be able to do it for the team with this Roger? Because most of the Maniacs has been done by Gold Leaders in particular, which I think it was Moskov's as well as Roger throughout the entire regular season. And maybe one Natan from Nets.
It was, well, Moskov only started to come by during the playoffs. It's mainly been Roger as well as Natan. I would say Harith is also part of that, but a majority of the time it also gets banned out. Speaking of which, I think that RSG is taking a very interesting approach, right? I think here the biggest vulnerability would have been the EXP side for SRG. The fact that they blind picked the X-Borg, the confidence that Cram can actually hold out. Personally, I thought they were going to flex it before they go into the second phase with the Barats initially, but then they decided to blind pick the X-Borg, which means that RSG now needs to play EXP, a damage EXP laner to break that Faraga armor, and that's why we see Paquito here.
Now, let's talk a little bit more on the draft adaptations here for game number 3, right? Like, I talked about needing adjustments coming in. Seeing Farsa being banned and just shutting down most of Stormy's heroes, what is Stormy going to play to deal with this Faramis? Because I know they're bringing in the export, I know they're bringing in to kind of deal with the NetherRealm here, but how are they going to play around these chips? Because
Vexana, Lilia, Odette,
to join in the portal without being one-shotted?
Yeah. Why not? Why not?
Or Aurora.
Aurora, even that works. Nana, like there are two heroes that already have an inbuilt like safety escape mechanism. Aurora and as well as Nana. Those are like, again, to me, a little bit lower on the list compared to the other things.
Okay.
I think Aurora, like you could go Aurora. I'm wondering if this is going to be a Claude ban too, because you could most likely see that picked up from SRG. But I think there's so many options. Vexana would be great. It adds another body on the Land of Dawn. Like when you already have 3 tanky, technically heroes. So SRG has so many power picks that they could actually take in the mid lane here to even deal with the Faramis.
Well, personally for me, so I think that SRG, instead, I mean, yes, some of the power picks are coming out, but I'd like that SRG is like, all right, you're going to have this Faramis team fight composition, but we don't want you to be peel back defensive, or, you know, we're going to get rid of the Edith, which is really good at peeling backwards and also engaging at their opponents. And I think that SRG is making sure that they can't fall back as conveniently as we expect, even with the NetherRealm.
Huh. I'm surprised by this carry back coming from RGMY. They're showing indicators where they're gonna bring in a tanky composition, but Natan is out in the pool. This is something that, like, they would prioritize carry over the Natan. Why is that? Like, it's weird for RGMY.
I think you just answered your own question, because the last 2 picks, right, have to be front lines. Like Storm, the Arlet is still up on the table. If the Tigro, perhaps you want to go for big status. Jungler as well, now that the Rafaela is banned out, means that RGMY, they need to look for someone that can stay in front to make use of Faramis' NetherRealm and to buy space for Loliel.
How are they going to do that? It's either they lean into a heavy dive composition, or they, again, it's difficult because SRG has taken away some like really key roam picks to make sure they can peel backwards efficiently.
Well,
Ruby again?
It could be, honestly, Ruby is not too bad. Arlet's a little bit more risky, but it helps out. Well, actually, the Ruby helps out a lot more, a little bit more in the early stages of the game.
would the Selena be not too bad this game? Considering that Storm has been using the traps for information against the chips.
No, makes no difference.
You just get rolled over.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
okay.
Please don't take it.
Okay, they did pick
thinking
the Grok. Okay.
I think The Grok here, not bad. Disengage. I think maybe even arguably a Lolita might have been the way to go for this, but SRG hasn't really shown anything that has projectiles to reflect in the first place, right? And even the fans recognizing that this draft is going to be a lot harder for them to deal with than the other way around. 4 picks already locked in, and a composition that wants to be proactive. I think that SRG at this point, missing gold and mid, it's got to be something that pushes like decently hard. No Moskov. What's the next best thing? Probably Natan.
I think they had to
Not a
go.
lot.
Yeah, they had to go for it, right? They brought in Aurora, so
Yes,
that's
sir.
a good one as well. So going through the portal, in case he gets blasted, he has the passive. They go in for Cloud 4. Innocent instead, but I'm more curious on what RSGMY is going to play with the jungler here. Is this a Paquito jungler? Or is this potentially...
Maybe Barrett's.
Yeah, I agree. I think if RCMY wants to just go to the lower brackets, they can play Paquito jungle, right? They can play whatever they want. This has to be a tank jungler.
But that's the thing, right? When Nogo has played jungle Roger before,
That's fair.
that's fair.
That's fair. I wouldn't put it past him, but I think this probably is going to be a really difficult game for Roger overall. You have the armor that you need, the Faraga armor that you somehow need to get rid of. You have Aurora
it is
and
a
her
jungle.
passive.
Oh, they actually went for it.
Wow.
Wow.
Now they scale. I don't know. I don't think this is going to be an easy game for the Roger. I'm going to be perfectly honest. There's just too many layers. Unless, like, the most susceptible lane is Cram if he doesn't have Faraga armor, and Innocent if he doesn't have his Purify. But that's like a very situational cause.
feels a little bit too greedy coming in from them. But what do you think, Naiso, about this draft?
This almost feels the same as the previous 2 drafts, and I think, again, when Gideon said, you know, this is kind of like an ego check, like, you know, we're just going to outplay you with this draft. I'm getting those vibes from this too, because even if you look at the lineup from SRG, you have so many things to work through. The armor, the passive from Aurora, more tankiness. There's a chip here. So I think with RSG's lineup, it's good for them if they can snowball early, but that's the best thing they could do here for this game 3.
Well, RCMY have one last chance to keep themselves in this series. Gotta be a long journey as we head into the land of Dawn. SRG against RCMY. SRG on the blue side, RCMY on the red.
Okay. This is RSGMY starting off at Yums. Okay, aggression invades right from the get-go.
This should be first blood, right?
Oh no, not
No,
20%!
actually, no.
No way. Get
Oh,
out.
he got the heal from his passive. Not even going to be anything for RCMY.
Oh, that's a bit of a feels bad, but at least they get the flicker out, right? He doesn't get to walk away without paying the tax.
Oh, I'm surprised that right from the get-go, Yums was willing to put it to the test, right? But this is a very, very good indication of, like, before 2 minutes, how much damage you are going to take when you're invading your jungle. Like, for Yums, he's not going to get the passive to actually regenerate his health unless he doesn't get an attack. So if he's getting attacked all the time, his health is going to drop eventually, but still, I like that he's able to survive, luckily for him, but it's sad for RGMY not being able to capitalize on that.
Well, maybe it's not the worst thing in the world, right? Now that if you, it does deter Yums from making another aggressive play because now he doesn't have flicker to get out of there as easily as he did previously.
Oh my god, look at how oppressive and annoying Yums is right now. Like, 1 minute I'm here, 1 second I'm here, the next I'm just on the other side of the map. Like, he's in 3 different places already. Like, first one, right on the top side, force engagements, rotations. Second one, now bottom, harassing XP. And then next one, where is he gonna go?
Man, the whole point of Paquito is to threaten the Faraga armor break early on, and he has to recall and blow a flicker. So that lane is basically lost.
Look at Yums at bottom lane. Like, he's just making sure that he can't play the game at all.
No, this lane is over.
He can't play Repo just completely focused out. It's not shutting down Vinogo this game. It's just making sure Repo can't play the game.
I mean, Cram, he played this lane really, really well, right? I mean, they're not going to get anything off of this. They're just zoning them out from that from the tri-brush. Oh, wait, collapse.
They're gonna try. Faraga armor is gonna be broken. 2 low members on the side of SRG, but unfortunately Vinogo does not get to move at all. It is a privilege denied by SRG. First blood for Slick Guys.
Hey, Stormy, calm down. He knows Rippo doesn't have flicker, but still, you don't want to lose that passive so early on. Speaking of which, on the opposite side,
Well, you say that. Stormy now to lose his passive, but picks out Ripple in the process.
Oh, he survives? No.
And Stone had to flicker for that, but it's really worth it though. Has the ultimate right now. So guys, level 5,
10
it
seconds.
should be an
10
easy turtle secured by Cram. RSG still wants more, but no go back in the frame.
No
But
way.
look guys, And Yume's just too strong. RSGMY dropping the ball before the game even began.
My.
4 kills for SRG.
My goodness here, like Storm, he's just trying his best here. Even the purple buff is getting invaded here. Great reset coming from Storm. It's going to buy a little bit more time to try and get Vinogo into position. But I feel like in that particular fight, it feels like Skies with the 3-man taunt saves Crab. Crab was able to just buy so much space, you know, even though it was a beautiful setup from Storm with the 3-man wall charge, but now another attempt comes in.
Man, they were just waiting for Vinogo to go for the Lycan Pounce. Sure, they get Stormy, but the Netherrealm is already gone. So guys, a bit out of position this time, getting jumped on. Vinogo wants the kill stunned up by Yus, but still collects the guys. And maybe this is SRG overstepping a little bit. It's going to be Ripple deliver a double kill. Cram shows up the last stand. He could not find Vinogo and now has to perhaps give up his life. RSGMY finding the bleeding spot and finding a couple.
Finally, some momentum coming back for the side of RSGMY. They're not only doing their chores, but they're also rotating accordingly. I do think that there was a bit of a mistake, though. Initially, Vinogo probably shouldn't have chain died there. He died the first time. Okay, he comes back to try and contest for the turtle one more time. That's where you call it quits, right? You may not be ultimate dependent, but I sure as hell think that 2 levels, or at least a level lead from the side of SRG is enough to deter you, that you need to clear up the rest of your jungle before you even think about it.
Yeah, and Izanami, you know, with his first Netherrealm here made such a huge impact in a way where they were able to kind of buy time for the team. They were able to get a little bit of small victory, right? But I think now RGMY has a better footing compared to the first 2 games. They finally figured out a way to kind of make sure that both Vinogo and Lolios has somewhat of a farm. But SRG, they have to respect this now because they have been annoying. But this is not scaling them far ahead like what you expect in game number 1 and game number 2. And in this next Turtle Clash, they have to be very careful on how they approach this. Maybe even bait out the Purifies as well as the Netherrealm coming from Izanami.
They did pull Yums in with the Shadow Stampede. RSGMY might have to take this fight. Lolia trying to break the portal that this chip set down, but Innocent is going to show up with the Blazing Duet onto Vinogo. And of course, the last Sandy from Cram finds the finisher. Ripple in the back, does get rid of the chip. But Sakai finds the big slam, and that is Lolia removed from the fight. RSGMY again losing members one by one. Storm forced to retreat, and Ripple left to his own devices. SRG still going for the chase. Undeterred, does not get the taunt.
Hey, wait.
Wait, it's not over yet. Stormy.
Wait.
Storm still
Wait,
wants it?
Stormy, what? He was able to survive that. What? Like, what?
What was that? What was that?
It's not done just yet. Vinogo wants this. Does not get the turtle. And he's going to go down again.
What is happening?
Catastrophic if you're RSGMY.
Like, we were just at an absolute disbelief and like looking at Stormy. He was like 1 HP. Okay, he's sure to die. Storm went in, tried to make an attempt, and guess what? He got frozen instead. It just could not die.
Man.
And now, RSG, they've been just throwing bodies one after another, and it's just giving free kills in the hands of SRG.
I don't know. I don't even know what to say, though. That was just weird. It just looked really uncomfortable. It felt like, I think, is it desperation? I can't even say that it's desperation. It just felt like they were fighting for the sake of fighting.
Man, I know I joked about them griefing, but this feels like RSGMY are reaching that point of beyond desperation. Losing Lolia again in the bottom side. Netherrealm used defensively, but you don't get anything out of it. SRG pedal to the metal at the tier 2 now. Sakai's big slam. This one tickles a bit, but it's enough to send a message.
Yeah, Storm can take so much damage here. He just ate so many abilities in that short period of time. But SRG, they're not going to take their foot off of their throats just yet. They're slowly creeping in towards it. Now, we haven't seen the game gone past 11 minutes so far. And RSG, technically, all the games that they've won have pushed the 20-minute mark. The real question is that whether RSGMY can make it to at least 15 minutes.
Yeah, we talk about the Langar strategy coming from Malaysia, right? We've known Toda Langar to be that kind of situation, but in SRG's case, this is a perfect example of what Langar is. Like, Yums hits you when you least expect it, and every single time they go for a single fight, you've seen now, Izanami isn't able to respond in time, and it's twice now, his Netherrealm hasn't been able to save someone, and now here comes a Langar again.
He's about to die for the 5th time. Changes form again. Izanami to escort him out. Langar Giant uses all the AoE. Innocent survives the blazing wet BMI, and RSGMY loses 3 more in the process.
Oh boy. I can't wait to see the item list. I'm pretty sure Innocent already has a corrosive sight because that slow from Innocent really set things up for Stormy here. Golden Staff already purchased. He might have gone for a DHS into the Golden Staff, so I'm not 100% sure. But then again, it is 25,000.
This Aurora looks so good because of the fact that when you have a Faramis, everybody's going to be clumped up. And the amount of AoEs they bring to the table, right?
Holy
They've got
cow.
X-Spark, they've got this Aurora one-shot, they've got the Claude as well. Like, where does RSG get any place to breathe? Because if they don't stand inside the Nether Realm, they're gonna be bursted down by the dives coming from the Fredrin, from the chips in general. But if they group up together, they're just gonna take so much damage.
Well, I mean, they shouldn't be taking these early engagements to begin with. I think that was RSG's major problem. They need to be more defensive against SRG, and that's why we saw in the draft itself that we saw the Edith, the Rafaela, for an example, getting banned out in that second phase to make sure that RSGMY not only doesn't have the sustainability, but they know that they want to be the aggressors from the side of SRG.
You know, one thing's really disgusting is that Yooms is a roamer and he's got so much damage. His third damage output out the entire game here, and he's slowly crawling up.
Now you see an issue. You can't even break the Faraga armor of Cram. That is the biggest nightmare of any team going up against an export. And not to mention SRG coming down this middle lane looking for a tier 2 with the Lord escorting bot wave.
Well, speaking of a Lord escorting wave here, like the collapse is about to happen as well. RSGMY, Lodios, just they need more out of Lodios, but can they buy time for him to actually deal some sort of damage? Because as of now, SRG, they just got so much to work with. Like when we talk about winning early engagements, Chips has got you into this point. And now SRG is just looking to close out the game. So the question here is, can they do it? Because as of now, if they don't break this inhibitor now, there is a huge chance that RSGMY is going to bounce back.
And SRG just taking up as much space as humanly possible. Surguys and Cram in the front, and that's the no-go. Having to force to go back to the fountain. Miniways coming in from all angles. Entropy used by Low Liao to clear out the Lord, but that inhibitor should still go down. The wall not really trapping Stormy in place. SRG breaking the first structure of RGMY space.
Yep, this is the checkmate angle once again. I mean, compared to game number 2, SRG don't exactly have many to... Wait, hold on.
Wait, the guys went back to heal and they just dropped the portal to bring him back in tip-top condition to fight this. And that is wild charge used, purified by Innocent to get out. SRG, they can take this as slow as they want.
I mean, SRG, they've set up the checkmate angle, and ideally they would like to actually continue the siege against RSGMY considering their lead. But the problem is that they don't have the tools to do that as effectively,
Yeah,
right?
but this is good, right? Like RSGMY wants to kind of buy time, right? Like if they can hold out for a little bit longer here, Lodios is going to be able to find a way to scale back. But again, SRG, they're getting a little bit oppressive. They're taking so much space, and what's really messed up about this is that SRG is just intentionally freezing all the minions on our side lane so that RGMY doesn't get those kind of farms, which I think Lolio needs. They need to survive. They cannot afford to die, but they also need farm. It's just so difficult, but eventually they need to make a play somewhere.
I'm trying to look for that angle. Storm has to land some godlike wall charge and have Low Liao with his Holy Crystal coming up. Two-shot everyone on SRG. Otherwise, I don't see RSGMY having a sizable chance.
Well, at this point, it's dependent on whether Slango Red Giants make that blunder. Like, if we see Innocent stick around for too long and ends up dying, or doesn't use his Purify in time, that's when RSG is going to have a slight chance of bringing it back and equalizing that score. But as I mentioned before, it's checkmate angle for a reason. They're starving them out, maintaining a 10k gold lead. SRG is going to hit their item power spikes faster than RSG. They're basically a full item ahead, if not 2 at this point, 1.5 at a minimum. They're going to take the Lord, and they're going to push off of that next wave for the win.
Yunus was waiting for someone to show up top, and
Oh no.
best possible target. Low Liao goes down, and SRG, they can go back to the Lord Pit. And Surguys, Innocent, and Stormy to take that objective.
Talking about checkmate angle here, that's literally check once again coming from Slango Red Giants. They were focusing down on the Lord. Very, very nicely done here. RSG, they have to make a desperation play right now. They have to kill either Cram or whoever. Wall charge comes in. Can they get out?
That's everything used. It's a 2 versus 4 and SRG coming out on top. Nether Realm expended. This is a siege angle for SRG. Izanami needs to get out. He's going to be stunned up by Yum. Still managing to escape, but at the cost of his own Purify.
What?
That was a 2v4 and SRG was winning. What? That is so much sustain, so much damage, and now with Inhibitor crashing in as well. The Lord coming from the bottom side. This is checkmate, man.
It definitely is. SRG looking for the final blow. One more step into the grand finals and they unleash their full force onto RSGMY. To RSGMY, SRG is an obstacle, but to SRG, RSGMY is just another stepping stone. SRG trio, they are grand finals bound.
They've done it.
Undefeated until the grand finals. They may have lost a game, but it's just a game. But SRG, the superior team, the superior force in MPL MY Season 13, they have done the impossible.
Well, I mean, it's a long, hard-fought victory for the side of SRG. RSG, they know they put up a fight, but it's not over for them just yet. Holy cow. GG, well played, SRG. This is the team you need to watch out for.
Oh, what a game coming in from them. And let's take a look at what they have to say and how they feel up on stage. Windrose, take it away.
First team to enter the grand finals in MPL Malaysia musim ke-13 Stadium MBSJ. Give it up for Selangor Red Giants. First of all, guys, congratulations. This is the first time that Selangor Red Giants will be advancing to the grand finals. Tapi ini adalah third grand finals untuk Stormy. Okay, so first, Stormy, your one